Well, it proved to be a triumphant night for Liverpool here at Anfield. Their Champions League campaign back on track in style after that disappointment in Naples a few weeks ago. 4-0 winners against Serbian champions Red Star Belgrade, and Jurgen Klopp's side. Good value for that scoreline. There's been a lot to admire about Liverpool this season in terms of grinding out results and being very strong and resolute defensively. What we haven't seen from them is the attacking brilliance that led them to Kiev in that Champions League final last season. And thankfully tonight the shackles came off and Liverpool started to play with some real fluency, and that was the hallmark of that team last season, and that magnificent run Klopp's team went on. And there was some really promising signs here tonight. Of course, you've got to factor in the the level of the opposition. There's a much bigger test to come than Red Star Belgrade, who had 6 put past them in Paris a few weeks ago. But make no mistake, this was about Liverpool's brilliance tonight rather than mistakes from the opposition. They had to work hard for it. The first 20 minutes was a struggle. Liverpool didn't really pose Red Star too many problems early on. There was a kind of a lack of spark, and it was a bit sloppy, similar to what we saw at Huddersfield on the weekend. But at a time when they were crying out for some inspiration, once again it was Xherdan Shaqiri who provided it. I thought he was absolutely sensational tonight. Amazing to think that he only cost £13 million from Stoke City in the summer, and no other real top clubs were in for Shaqiri. But increasingly that fee is looking like small change, because every time he's pulled on a Liverpool shirt so far, he's made a difference. He created the winning goal for Salah at Huddersfield last weekend, and tonight he just absolutely dazzled, with those quick feet, his vision, his technique, and he played a massive part in those opening 2 goals. For the first one, he won the ball back. I think that's a side to his game we haven't really seen before. I think Klopp has clearly been on at him about that work rate, and having to, at Liverpool, you can't just wait around for someone to give the ball to you. You have to make things happen, and he did that. A brilliant pass to release Robertson, his cross teed up Firmino, and fantastic for Firmino. Gone 6 games without a goal, for him to get back on the score sheet tonight. And after that, you could see the confidence just ooze through Liverpool. They played with a swagger, and Shaqiri heavily involved in the second goal as well. A glorious touch into the path of Mo Salah, and Salah a touch to steady himself, and a lethal finish. And undoubtedly that was a massive bright point tonight. The fact that more signs of Mo Salah getting back to his best, and then early in the second half, another piece of history for the Egyptian. After a generous penalty decision, I think it's fair to say, after Mane went down, Salah hammering home the spot kick. 50 goals and 65 appearances for the club. No player in Liverpool's history has got to that landmark quicker. And what an achievement that is for Mo Salah. I think his resurgence after that mini slump is bad news for defenders across Europe. I think the only frustration for Salah tonight will be he'd been substituted just before Liverpool got a second penalty. On this occasion, Sadio Mane saw his spot kick brilliantly tipped onto the underside of the bar by the keeper. But it was great to see Mane complete the scoring. I think it would have been a bit of a sour note to end on if that had been the final chapter. But Mane, to his credit, kept going, and Sturridge, who was lively off the bench, he teed up Mane very unselfishly, who poked into the bottom corner. I think that's the first goal in 7 for Mane, so that ends the most barren run of his Liverpool career too. So the front 3, all of them on the score sheet tonight. The first time that's happened since that 5-2 victory over Roma in the Champions League semi-final here in April. And there was plenty else to really be enthusiastic about. I thought Fabinho was fantastic. I think obviously he's had to be patient and wait for his chance. Klopp has talked many times about him having to adapt to what's expected of him, but I thought Fabinho for the first time really showed tonight why Klopp spent £40 million in him. I thought he snapped into tackles. He was a big physical presence. Used the ball really well. Was a creative force, and he could be proud of his efforts. Wijnaldum, I thought, was sensational alongside him as well. Interestingly, Klopp talking about the change in formation. It was very much a 4-2-3-1 tonight, with Wijnaldum and Fabinho alongside each other. But after the early issues, it certainly worked to treat. And defensively, I mean, Red Star failed to muster a single shot on target. Van Dijk and Gomez absolutely rock solid again, and Andy Robertson, his name was chanted vociferously by the Kop, and that was richly deserved, because that was another big performance from the Scotsman. But tonight was all about Liverpool rediscovering their fluency going forward. That firepower is well and truly back, and that bodes well for the visit of Cardiff City here on the weekend.